And we are joined now by our guy, Lou Merloni. Hey, Lou.
Hi, Greg. We miss you. Like, what's going on? Are you coming down tonight? What's the deal?
Yes. I got the Noro. I would not wish it on my my worst enemy.
Okay.
But I will be arriving. I just was arguing with Ken in the hallway about whether the company can foot the bill for a $200 JetBlue flight as opposed to using the Delta credits for a flight that gets me in at 4:45 a.m. tomorrow morning.
So, all these big problems. Big problems.
And
right?
I'm sure Ken did I'll run it up the flagpole.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. But listen,
Hey, by the way, Greg, before you get into this, the best head of hair I have ever seen.
Thank you.
Steve Phillips.
Oh.
Unbelievable.
100%.
A silver fox.
Yep.
He really
Perfectly
is.
swapped, too.
I mean, the guy just oozes baseball and sex.
Put that on a poster.
Speaking of which, Will Flemming here as well.
Oozing both those things.
Yeah, sure.
Will, is it official, Will? Are you the? I don't want to say the new Joe Castiglione, but is
We're still waiting for an announcement.
I'll leave that to the powers that be, but yes, I will be the main radio guy for years to come. So
Nice.
Awesome.
Congratulations.
Congrats.
What'd you sign, like a 20-year deal or what?
yeah, and I no longer have to battle with Ken and Mike on airfare and Ubers and all that stuff.
Awesome. Well,
And Lou, I mean, you kind of
Yes, sir.
You're Mr. Television now. I mean, do we get any games from you at all?
Yeah. There's going to be a few with me and Mr. Flem Dog over here. But yeah, most of it's going to be on TV. So
He's ditching us, Greg.
It'll be fun.
That's why you're working on that tan.
I am. I got to
Yeah.
work on that tan.
Yeah.
looking good.
I need
Will.
my hour a day, like at the pool, just to chill.
And I don't know if you're flexing right now, but the arms look swole.
See?
Yeah.
That's what it is. He's getting a workout
Well,
in.
you know, I mean, listen, I have to come into camp like in my best
There you go.
media shape of my life.
Yeah, that's
Right.
good.
Both of you guys have been down there for a while, longer than we have. I don't know if you call it chemistry or vibe.
Yeah.
Is it different going into this season?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's a lot different. I would say like the last couple of years, you walked in here and it was like, well, you know, let's see what the kids can do. You know, maybe some can surprise. Maybe we can stay healthy. You know, maybe you can stay in it. Maybe you can pick up an addition at the All-Star break and give this thing. You're basically coming up with ideas of hope and how to stay in it, and it can happen. And then all of a sudden you walk in this year and it's no longer hope. Like it's right in front of you. You know, you're like, okay, this is a good team. And the guys can feel like we have a club that can compete in the AL East. You got Crochet, you got Bueller, in comes Bregman. Some other additions. Guys are healthier. Guys are a year older. They know what it takes. Yeah, it's just a completely different. There's no more hope. There's now expectations. It should be a playoff team.
It's been said 100 times, so it seems like it might be trite. But Bregman being the adult in the room, or like, how important is that?
I think that you just can't overstate it. I mean, at all levels. You guys talked to Trevor today. I mean, he himself is impacted by Bregman's arrival. The whole club has found out that he is everything and more that was advertised. And by the way, this is why Alex Cora was banging the drum for him for 5 months. I mean, this team has needed that for so long. Lou has been in the big leagues. You talk to so many players. They need adults who've done it, who've struggled, who've succeeded, who can just stand around the cage with you and tell you how to prepare, how to get out of a rut. And don't you think he's just exceeded everything?
He has exceeded my expectations. Like I kind of was like hoping this guy would come in and just right away kind of lead. And it's even been the other day I was asking him, because you know how his wife was going to his executive business school at Harvard?
Yeah.
Oh.
So I was just like, what is executive business school? Like I know what business school is.
Right.
And after about 30 seconds of trying to explain it, he's like, yeah, you know what? I don't know. He's like, all I want is for her to be happy and hit lasers. And there was a part of me that wanted to hug him,
Right.
but I thought that'd be weird. But like just everything that comes out of his mouth is about winning, is about, you know, there's no doubt in his mind he's going back to the playoffs for the 9th year in a row. Like, and it's like just been missing, like this veteran who's been there. And if you want to play in the playoffs, let's face it, Devers and Story. Devers got like 26 games in the postseason. Story's got 5. This guy's got 99. No other hitter has been in the playoffs. So if you plan on getting there, it's nice to have someone that walks into the postseason as if it's just an extension of the regular season his whole career.
Go ahead.
Do you back Alex Cora when he says that since they're all adults, there's no issue when it comes to Devers and Bregman and that whole third base situation? Or do you think that there could be a divide there?
I don't think there's going to be a divide, like part of the room wants Devers at third. It's a Devers thing. Right? The guy's got a lot of pride. He wants to continue to try to show he can get better at playing third and prove that he can play third. So I don't think he wants to move off it. In the end, if some young kid at second proves he can handle the job, he's your Devers your DH.
So who do you think's going to play third base? Your opinion based on, you guys have been in this world, like opening day or at least March 27th in Texas, who's going to be the third baseman?
I think Bregman. I mean, but what Lou is talking about is exactly right. You need Campbell or Grissom or maybe even Hamilton, but I think those first two have a better chance. If they can play second base and prove that, Alex Bregman is a much better third baseman. And Cora is going to navigate this thing just fine. Whether or not they communicated in the offseason, I know a lot of people are talking about that. I find it so hard to think that not knowing whether you're going to get Bregman or Arenado, you go to Raffy and say, hey, bud, like we really are looking at moving you off the position you've played your whole life. I don't buy into that logic at all. I mean, that could really hurt the relationship with a player and a decision you might not end up making. So I think they want Bregman to play third, but they need somebody to find out that they can be the second baseman.
Yeah, I would say, I don't know about you guys, but in any interview I've ever heard, from growing up as a listener to this radio station to watching Boston sports media my whole life, hearing Cora discuss Bregman, it was almost as the only thing I could compare it to was the Bill Belichick, Teddy Bruschi retirement press conference where he said he was the perfect Patriot. Like, the way Cora discussed him, he called him perfect, and it wasn't like he was trying to be, it wasn't said in jest, it wasn't said tongue-in-cheek, it was that he thinks this guy is the catalyst to get this team where it needs to go.
Yeah, because he kind of knows what's been missing, but I also think there's like a little build-up. For the last 2 or 3 years, I think, everybody made a big deal about, like, Cora, and Cora and Kennedy wanted Bregman, and Bregman, that report, Breslow wasn't sure. And that's the way it always is. You know what I mean? Like, Cora's like, yeah, I want Bregman, and by the way, I want Burns, and I want Crochet, and I want Fried, and, he wants everybody. He's the manager. So I think for the last 2 or 3 years, everybody that Cora has really wanted – I'm not sure they've delivered.
Right.
You know what I mean? So he's like, finally, I got my guy. Like, yeah, you want to get Crochet and Buehler, awesome. But I need this veteran, especially right-handed bat at Fenway Park. So I think part of it is just he's excited that he identified somebody that would really help, and they went out and got him. And, again, he knows what he brings. And it's everything, like on so many levels, what the team needed. And then the other side, the fan base level, was like, it just satisfied the whole, are they ever going to spend ever again? And they went out and gave this guy $40 million. So,
Lou, what changed Cora's mind midseason, or at least made him, open and willing to doing a deal midseason when he said he wasn't?
I think, it's funny because we always talk about Cora's going to go somewhere else. And you would say, okay, if somebody was to walk into the Red Sox in 2024 and look at the young players they have playing every day and look at the farm system, if you were looking at where should I go manage in 2025, there's not many places better. It's just he went through it for 5 years. But moving forward for the next 5, if ownership believes in this young group, if ownership is willing to spend the money because the young groups have come through now and it's time to go, there's not a better spot. Like the Yankees is sort of like getting a little bit older. They'll always spend. The Phillies are getting older. They'll spend. But this team, if he's told that we're going to start investing into this ball club, there wasn't really many better spots than this.
I think the family part is real, too. I mean, his daughter's finishing up at BC. His sons are big Celtics fans now. Like, they love Boston, and that's a real part of, I think, what makes him such a great fit here is that they buy into and understand the rhythms of the city and love it. So
something I did find interesting that he said yesterday was if you're a manager and you stay at one spot for too long, it can become difficult, though, which made me confused that he would say that after signing for another 3 years here.
Yeah, Tito always said the same thing, right? How long was he here? 9 years?
Yeah.
Or whatever. And then he's like, it's like Boston dog years. It's like 50 years managing. So Cora, who has been here since, 18?
Yeah.
So, yeah, like the 3 years, like, is this it? It very well could be.
I don't think he wants to manage too long. No. I don't. I mean, he's great at it, but whether he wants to be in a front office or whatever, and I think the dollars in this deal make it even likelier. I mean, look, if they go on some run and win 2 of the next 3 or something, it might be hard to walk away from that. But I just don't see him managing like into his 60s. He's not that kind of guy.
And Lou, I need you to weigh in on a take I had yesterday. Hot take. John Henry better owner than Robert Kraft?
I love the debate.
where do you stand, and Will and everybody? Where do you stand on that?
Even before the Bregman, the amount of crap that Henry gets and the free pass that Kraft gets is like beyond. I don't even understand it. One guy has been so-called cheap for 3 or 4 years. One guy's been cheap since he ever showed up here. Robert Kraft is last in cash spending the last 10 years. It was like they've won 6 Super Bowls, and it took a national survey about how crappy the grounds were in the training room and how they treat families. He got shamed publicly after winning 6 Super Bowls to have the worst facility in football for his players who won 6 Super Bowls, and he still didn't want to put money into it. So, yeah, listen, I think kind of got the free pass, and I get it. Through Belichick,
people
Brady,
just don't like John Henry. They don't like him, his personality, who he is. He's quiet. He doesn't seem like he's invested. So that's why they make their judgment.
All it took for you to like him was a bag of merch.
No. Listen,
sweatshirts.
But I've been saying this since day one, before I even got any swag.
One City Connect jersey. As like a true Bostonian, I've always taken myself out of it and go, okay, who's willing to spend money? And I played for the Patriots. And who's willing to open up the checkbook and put the best possible people out there and willing to cut a check? And whether it was Kyle Crawford, Adrian Gonzalez, there's just Pablo Sandoval. There's been so many players that even though they're misses, at least my favorite is Rusney.
At least John Henry has been willing to say, when nobody wanted him to sign David Price because they were like he was overpaying him, he gave him 7 years and whatever it is. Robert Kraft, I remember screaming for Julius Peppers. I remember screaming for wide receivers like Steve Smith. They just have never wanted to spend money,
but
and that's
Wiggy. To be fair, John Henry for a while was not willing to spend. And I think everybody owes a debt of gratitude to Mark Walter and the Dodgers for changing that. And so you got to be fair about it.
Yeah, but when did John Henry never want to spend? Because prior to these
last 4.
Yeah, right. Yeah. But prior to that, he had been
that's what I'm talking. Last 4 years.
Right. But we know, and we've said he's changed his philosophy. But prior to that, the Red Sox had been in the top 5 when it came to payroll for like 15 years straight.
Yeah. And he's not perfect. You know what I mean? Like, the last 4 years, I would have liked to have seen him spend as well. And this isn't really like, John Henry gets a lot of criticism. For me, it's always like I always sat back and kind of laughed at how Robert doesn't get any, right? Or hasn't gotten any, And I was like, oh, okay. But John is, he had a different philosophy the last 4 years. Let's face it. You look back now, and it's like, I don't really believe in this team. We have a bunch of young kids. I need to see what they are. I'm not going to go and spend $300 million on a team we don't believe in that I'm not even sure if my GM believes in. Yeah. So why would I do that? Let's sit back. Let's draft. Let's develop. And then when we're ready to spend, we will. And we were hoping it was this offseason. It took a while, but they went out and got Bregman, and we'll see if they're done.
Blue, where are you on this version of robot umps and the challenges?
I like the ABS challenge system. I think that will be coming next year. I think they'll do it in the minors again. I like the whole 3 challenges throughout a game. The electric strike zone, I think, would be an absolute nightmare. And if pitchers think that it's a good idea, the strike zone will absolutely 100% shrink. It'll be advantage hitters because whether pitchers want to realize it or not, they get more off the plate. And I've talked to umpires who agree 100%. They have no idea how small the strike zone will get if you really just call the play.
Spoken like a true hitter.
It's always their fault.
Yeah, I would also just say on the spending front, removing the Devers reaction and how that may impact it. As a general whole for the organization, Will and Lou, did you feel like the team now feels like, wow, we have no bitch. We have nobody to blame. Like this organization believes in us. Bregman is a sign that we are going to be going for it for years to come.
Yeah, and so will Vlad Guerrero next spring. So
there you go.
Yeah, I do. I think it's lifted a lot of that pressure from everybody. And again, to your first question, they feel it in that room. I mean, it's like, okay, now we can really go. And even though Crochet was a trade, I think that's coming soon. I think it's felt to me forever like the kind of thing that everybody's down here and happy and in great moods, and the 3rd week of spring training, bang, 6-year extension for Garrett Crochet. So I think that's the kind of thing that's coming now too. So yeah, they're lined up to keep spending.
Chris, I would say on that real quick, like last year, you walk in this clubhouse, 6 to 8 guys kind of walk up to you, and they look at me or Will and go, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing? Why didn't we get involved with this guy? Why didn't we get involved with this? You know what I mean? Like, those questions you're not hearing it this year. But, yeah, the last couple of years, like, what are we doing? Like, are we going to spend? Like, what? You know what I mean? Like,
right.
You heard it from guys.
Well, yeah, I mean, I can only imagine if we feel it as people covering it or the guys on the team had to feel it differently. And maybe the delay in the announcement has Ken and Mike checked with Casas about the new booth because he may have to get final approval. Depending.
He's making all the decisions,
right?
isn't he?
I mean, I don't know in football, but in baseball, it's like the biggest canned answer, like the easiest answer in the world. You hear it all the time is that those decisions are above my pay grade.
Yeah. That's for the
right?
coach.
Right.
It's the easiest answer in the book.
I'm here to hit baseballs. I'm here to play football. That's for the coach. But let me ask this my last question for you, Lou, because I'm always fascinated to be around the training camp, whether it's football, baseball, but just to see the advancements, because you and I played so long ago, and I was kind of blown away with this part of the ballpark. What's the advancements like? I've seen not Trevor's story, but Bregman shows a lot of his workouts on social media. What are these advancements like for these young kids that help them become way better baseball players because of the technology and all this other stuff that they have?
It's just like you look over here where you guys are, right? The catching drills and the infield drills. Like, when I was playing, there was no drills. It was like, I'm going to go hit some ground balls. And that's where you're going to work on your form. That's where you're going to work on catching the ball. The pitchers that are working on framing here in front of you. Like, there was no drill. Like, they worked on framing on bullpens. You know what I mean? Like, now everything is so specific. Whether it's hitting, whether it's fielding, whether it's outfield work, there's so many little drills to work on fundamentals, that kind of muscle memory to take you into the game, and forget about the nutrition. We had 2 trainers and a strength coach when I played here. We travel with 12 total, maybe more, 15. Like, it's just strength and trainers everywhere.
And the video technology
is video,
nuts.
forget about it. It's so advanced, crazy.
So, Lou, are they underachieving if they don't win the division?
I wouldn't say win the division. I mean, I can't say that because Yankees win 98 games, but they're 100% underachieving if they don't make the postseason, and they should be competitive in the division. I think that's how everybody feels.
Okay.
Yeah.
Will, have you settled on a signature call yet?
Can you believe it has taken?
Oh, man.
I heard some of those Bregman calls from Jones and Keefe that
Brag on your face.
Yes.
ABC.
Right, breaking the stallion. I like that.
Crack another Bregman.
Alex said they got to come up with some different ones.
Yeah, he was not a fan.
No, he wasn't.
No, I'm glad he signed before hearing that.
All right,
We'll
guys.
see.